Hold on a second. Will anyone take a plane to Buzzard? Regarding flying, we have no knowledge. The Wright brothers didn't either. They did, however, fly. The Wrong brothers can do whatever that the Wright brothers can do. Correct. Correct. False. The Three Stooges are well known for their outrageous antics, absurd arguments, and humorous gags. For years, people made fun of Moe, Larry, and Curly. However, Moe Howard eventually revealed the truth about what actually transpired after the cameras were turned off before he passed away. Their life wasn't as humorous as it seemed, it turns out. Fans were unaware of conflicts, unhappiness, and other problems. To preserve the group's reputation, Moe had been silent for a while. This time, however, he wanted the public to know the truth about what actually transpired behind the scenes. Many were astonished by what he stated. The stunning revelation revealed that there was more to the Three Stooges world than just humor. It was painful as well. As the group's leader, Moe faces silent challenges. Something changed prior to Moe Howard's death. The loud, domineering stooge, who is always willing to slap someone foolish, is what most people imagine when they think of Moe Howard. But he wasn't really like that. Moe was not at all like the crazy character he portrayed off camera. He was quiet, kind, and quite introspective. In real life, he had no desire to be the center of attention. All he wanted was for the team to remain together. As it turned out, Moe was more of a big brother to everyone, both on and off screen. In difficult times, he was the glue that held the Three Stooges together. He read scripts, answered business calls, and even made an effort to assist people with their personal issues. His real-life composure and seriousness would have astounded fans. When the camera stopped rolling, there were no eye pokes or slaps. Rather, Moe would discreetly review lines, tend to his brothers, and ensure that everyone arrived home safely. At one point, he compared becoming Moe the Stooge like donning a mask, and he was just a man doing his best when the mask fell off. Moe was unique because of that kind of honesty. You could see the concern in his eyes even while he was playing the tough guy. He ensured that there were laughs even if he wasn't the loudest, and he carried the agony and solitude after the laughter stopped. People didn't get to see that side of Moe, but it was the most important. Over the course of his career, Moe remained silent on a number of issues. He didn't want to destroy the Three Stooges' enchantment. However, when he grew older, he started discussing the actual events. Finally, in his last years, he shared with the world the heartache, the labor, and the silent struggles that went into the laughing. He told tales of being paid much less than they were entitled to, working long hours, and performing risky exploits without safety. He talked of Larry's emotional collapses, Curly's health issues, and his attempts to keep everything together by relying solely on faith. He often recounted the narrative of how they had to continue filming despite Curly's initial stroke. Moe pleaded with the studio to let Curly rest, but they turned him down. It was always about money to them, Moe stated. But to me, it was about my brother. Moe's devotion to his team, his family, and his supporters was evident in those late-life interviews. Pity was not what he wanted. He wanted people to know the truth. And he provided his fans something more significant than amusement by doing that. He was honest with them. The question had been posed by fans for years. Curly, what happened to him? Why did he abruptly leave the comedy group when they were at their peak of fame? Rumors had long circulated, with some attributing it to drinking and others to illness. However, the whole truth remained a secret. Beyond just being a well-liked comedic trio, the Three Stooges were more. They turned into a cultural phenomenon that influenced slapstick humor for many years. Their antics, exaggerated gestures, and bizarre facial expressions became iconic. Moe Howard, Larry Fine, and Curly Howard, whose real name was Jerome Lester Horwitz, were the driving forces behind their success. Curly was the one who added a magical touch to the performance, even though Larry played the bewildered middleman and Moe portrayed the gruff leader with his striking hairstyle. However, only Moe saw the whole extent of Curly's struggles behind the scenes, something that other people were unaware of. Curly wasn't the first person that came to mind. Moe and Larry needed a replacement after Moe's older brother quit the group to work alone. Moe's younger brother, Curly, desired the position, but nobody believed he was acting out. He had little performance training, was quiet, and appeared too kind. He didn't seem like the type of person who could light up a stage with his round face and steady voice. But Curly really wanted it. To give himself a more humorous appearance, he shaved off his thick hair and clipped his beard. He got the part because of his new look and strong drive to succeed. Something unexpected occurred the instant he stood in front of the camera. He was naturally good at timing, making noises, and looking silly. His routines were not planned. He simply completed them. There was no script for the noises, the spinning, the barking. They simply poured from him. The directors soon discovered that Curly performed best in solitude. All he needed to do was be himself and let the camera roll. Each time it was like magic. Fans saw a humorous, joyful man on screen, but Mo saw a different side when the lights were out. Off camera, Curly was quiet and frequently anxious. He shunned interviews and public gatherings. After filming was over, he would discreetly go, preferring to be by himself. Despite his generosity and kindness to others, he struggled in intimate relationships. He had multiple unsuccessful marriages and didn't appear to know what he wanted to do for a living. The fame came with a lot of strain. Hours of hard labor were needed to continuously film short comedic episodes, as required by the studios. Mo could see that the job was weighing him down, but he never stated it out. Occasionally, Curly might forget a line. Mo noticed that Curly's vitality was waning, yet sometimes he responds too slowly. He appeared exhausted most of the time and was putting on weight. Despite the applause from the fans and the laughter from the crew, Mo could sense that his brother's flame had dimmed. On certain days, Curly would appear disoriented, leaving the set as if he had forgotten their task. He would miss his targets, or hesitate for a second before retaliating. Mo understood deep down that this was more than tension, but he didn't want to think that something was off. But Curly continued to turn up, and they had job to do. Mo had to change scenarios at one point, give Curly a break in between takes, and cover for his brother when he could. However, it was insufficient. Even though they didn't fully comprehend the situation, everyone in Curly's immediate vicinity began to see that his health was declining. It became impossible to conceal the evidence as the years progressed into the 1940s. Despite being young in years, Curly had the appearance and gait of a much older man. His weight continued to rise, and he got high blood pressure. Even in basic situations, he would perspire a lot while filming, and he had to sit down after each take. Mo later revealed that Curly had a lot of odd attitudes during the breaks in the filming. By now, Mo had seen his brother go from a talented entertainer to a man who could hardly remain in the moment. Curly's inability to accomplish the physical tasks that were so effortless simply made matters worse. In order to keep him steady and help him remember lines, the crew had to carefully lead him through situations. Mo claimed that, in spite of everything, Curly still felt obligated to provide entertainment for the public, to help Mo and Larry, and to fulfill the studio's expectations. This leads us to some additional information that Mo provided. Their earnings were modest. The Three Stooges weren't wealthy, which is difficult to believe. Even though they made the Globe laugh, their take-home salary was rather meager. Mo spoke candidly about how unjust it was. The Stooges were forced to live on set salary, while their short films filled theaters and made Columbia Pictures a ton of money. No matter the size of the audience, there would be a flat cost with no perks or profit sharing. The studio was in complete control. It was impossible for Mo, Larry, and Curly to quit or demand more money without jeopardizing their employment. The bosses utilized the fact that they were bound by contract to silence them. To them, we were merely workers. Not stars, not people. Just tools to make money, Mo once said. And earn money, just not for themselves, though. Mo recalled that in order to pay the bills, they had to labor constantly. Just a lot of labor and sore bones, no large mansions or expensive automobiles. They were overworked and underpaid in their own day, but it's easy to look back and consider them legends. Mo claimed that he frequently stayed up late, contemplating how they would survive another year. When discussing the studio, Mo never held back. We were famous, sure, he continued, but fame doesn't pay the rent. He made it apparent that Columbia Pictures viewed them as interchangeable clowns. The bosses took all the credit when their films performed well. The studio blamed the Stooges for their difficulties. The fact that fans adored them was irrelevant. The bottom line was all that mattered to the studio. The Stooges' lack of ownership rights over their own work was the hardest aspect. The shorts were not theirs. They were not compensated for reruns on television. Therefore, the Stooges received nothing, while a new generation of admirers laughed at Mo's macho guy slaps and Curly's goofy looks. Those photos were our creation, Mo stated. However, we didn't own any frames. It was devastating. Mo recalled seeing old TV clips and realizing that while he and Larry were barely making ends meet, others were making fortunes from their labor. By the time they were somewhat well known, it was too late. Mo was worn out. Curly and Shemp had left. He continued to push, though. He voiced his concerns about the treatment of comedic teams like his in letters, interviews, and public appearances. He reminded supporters that we paid the price for what we did. So if you enjoy it, keep that in mind. And that's a profound reality. Moe was more than just a performer. Despite all that was going on with the studio and his brother's health, Moe was a guardian. He took on the role of the group's father figure behind the scenes. In reality, Moe carried the team's emotional burden, even though the outside world regarded him as the boss he had won. His younger brother Curly suffered in private, but was a firebrand on stage. He partied hard, ate poorly, and drank excessively. Moe frequently tried to help him relax, get some rest, and visit a doctor. Moe claimed that although he possessed the gift, he neglected his own needs. Moe was powerless to stop Curly's condition from deteriorating. The tough guy in the middle and Curly's health issues. Behind the scenes, Moe's anxiety was increasing daily. It wasn't only that Curly was sick, it was becoming risky. Little strokes were beginning to appear in him. Moe subsequently stated that the alterations in Curly's movement, concentration, and memory all suggested something much more serious, even if nobody at the time knew exactly what was going on. He characterized Curly as having a profound soul, in addition to being the humorous character on screen. In a solemn interview near the end of his life, Moe once remarked, "People think Curly was just for laughing and nonsense." However, he felt something. He was easily wounded. No one knew how much he cared. Moe continued by describing how Curly was pushed to his breaking point by the studio's constant pressure and lengthy hours. Behind the amused expression was a man who was having trouble keeping up. People were truly hurt by the physical comedy that made them laugh so hard. Curly began to experience emotional as well as bodily suffering. He started drinking more after that. Moe witnessed it but was unsure of how to prevent it. He thought he had failed Curly. He continued to act and work, but something inside of him never recovered. My brother whispered softly, suppressing his tears. I saw the light go out in my eyes, and I was unable to retrieve it. His health had progressed past concern by the time he was in his early 40s. Despite being 42, he had the appearance and gait of a guy twice his age. He mumbled his words. The physical comedy was too much for him to follow. At times, it appeared as though he was unsure of his whereabouts. He was barely retaining the enthusiasm that had made him the show's star. Next was May 6, 1946. There was silence at the end of the Stooges' usual comedic short, Half-Wits Holiday, which they were recording like many others. Curly fell. He went down in the middle of a sequence on the set. He was suddenly struck by a huge stroke. Everybody froze. Moe was present. According to his later statements, that day marked the spiritual, rather than physical disappearance of the genuine Curly. The man who made everyone laugh simply by entering a room. The one who made every picture shine. Moe replied, that man was gone in seconds. Curly's brain suffered severe damage from the stroke. He was unable to speak clearly. He lost his equilibrium. One half of his face drooped. He frequently cried or laughed without cause, since he was unable to regulate his emotions. Worst of all, he was aware of it. He was aware of his loss. This stroke was an unfortunate end for a man who gained notoriety for his erratic behavior, fast thinking, and crazy motions. In an instant, his identity and career were over. Moe was broken. He was losing more than just his comedy sidekick. His younger brother was dying. However, the performance continued. It was unable to. Moe and Curly's older brother, Shemp Howard, who had first left the Stooges in his 30s, returned from Columbia. Shemp wasn't Curly, but he was humorous in his own way, more talkative and more anxious. The vibe shifted. It was a different chemistry. Fans sensed it. Curly wasn't the only one who experienced health issues, though. Larry Fine also faced difficulties. He was charming and humorous, but he was very sensitive. Larry was unable to even handle a fork after suffering a stroke in the 1970s. Despite his advanced age, Moe still came to assist. He read stories to him, brought meals, and even assisted with bathing. These actions weren't motivated by praise for Moe. He loved them, so he did them. His words, they weren't just co-stars, they were my brothers. That kind of loyalty is uncommon, which is why Moe's story still resonates even after the laughter has subsided. He was more than just the tough guy in the middle. He was the center of everything, even when things got worse. Let's look at what happened after the stroke. The Stooges. After the stroke, Curly Howard disappeared from the public eye. Following the stroke in the spring of 1946, fans assumed he had just taken a break, that he was recuperating, perhaps preparing a low-key comeback to the Three Stooges. But the truth was far more tragic. Behind closed doors, the man who had made millions of people laugh was slipping, not resting. And that stroke had done more than just damage to his body. As time went on, Curly's mental health started to deteriorate. In the months that followed, he found it difficult to comprehend what had happened, and continued to ask his brother Mo when he could return to work. He thought it was just a break, Mo said years later, but we knew he wasn't coming back. Curly's emotions became erratic. He would sometimes cry, and at other times he would appear irrationally angry or afraid. He became suspicious of everyone around him, including close friends and family, and he stopped taking care of his health. His weight increased rapidly, and he showed no concern for clothing, food, or even getting out of bed. At home, things weren't any easier. Curly had been married 4 times in his life, each ending for a different reason, but Mo thought his emotional problems were a major factor in each of them. The bright, playful man fans loved was being replaced by someone sad, distant, and confused. There were few treatments available at the time, and in the 1940s and early 1950s, there were no such drugs for mental health. Curly was once gentle and kind like a child, but then he would suddenly become confused or upset. Eventually, his condition became so severe that he was placed in care facilities, including mental institutions. By the early 1950s, Curly had had a number of additional strokes. Mo recalled that he would smile when I entered, and even if he didn't say anything, I could tell he knew me. Mo compared it to mourning his brother while he was still alive, saying it was like watching someone go while still alive. Even though it was difficult, Mo was going to bid him farewell for the last time. He was transferred from hospital to hospital, sometimes to care facilities, and occasionally to mental hospitals. It was reported that his emotional state deteriorated, causing him to lose his memory of names, his location, or even to laugh uncontrollably. Even though he no longer commanded every stage he walked on, there was still a remnant of the former Curly. In 1949, he made a brief appearance in The Stooges, Short Malice in the Palace, without any lines. But fans could tell something was wrong. The comedian they remembered was no longer in front of them. In one of his last interviews, Mo remarked, "I should have pulled him out. I should have made them see." Curly's fall wasn't just a tragedy, it was a warning, and they missed it, pushing forward in the hopes that the next laugh would make it better. He looked like a shadow of himself, exhausted, faded, and shattered. The strokes not only ended Curly's career, but they also ended a piece of Mo. The Stooges continued, but the heart of the trio had long since left the stage. Behind the curtain, however, a man was dying slowly and silently while the world laughed. Mo never stopped blaming himself. He lived with the guilt of witnessing it all happen, and being powerless to stop it. This time, he had to say goodbye for real. Mo Howard never recovered from the last time he saw Curly alive. By that time, Curly's body was thin and feeble, and the energy that had once made him the life of the Three Stooges was gone. He remained silent. That last visit crushed Mo, and he walked out of the hospital room crying. His eyes looked past everything, as if the world no longer made sense to him. But even in that silence, something powerful happened. Mo later said that he grabbed my hand and held it tight, and Curly didn't say a word. But Mo felt it. His little brother knew this was goodbye. Fans were shocked when Curly died a few days later, on January 18, 1952, at the age of 48. Most of them were unaware that Curly had been ill for so long, and the studios had kept it quiet. Mo, too, had been silent for years. He sobbed as if he hadn't cried in years. The show continued, but Mo was still grieving on the inside. He didn't want sympathy. That wasn't Mo. He wanted fans to stop believing that the Stooges were always laughing in real life, because they made other people laugh on screen. But beneath the jokes in the Stooge skits, Mo carried a sadness that never left him. Fans witnessed the final product slaps, goofy noises, and crazy chases, but they were unaware of Mo's struggles with the studio to keep the group together, or his long hours for meager compensation. Mo put it best when he told a friend, "People think we were rolling in money and having fun all the time, but they don't know what we went through behind that curtain." They didn't witness the heartache of Curly's stroke or Larry's limited speech following his own, nor did they witness Mo writing heartfelt letters to fans. In one of his last interviews, Mo said, "We worked hard, not just for money, but because we knew people needed to laugh." At times, that was the only thing that sustained us. There was no line. It wasn't a show. It originated deep within the man who bore the burden of the entire performance. He wanted more than simply the performances to be remembered. Mo hoped they would keep in mind the people who caused the commotion. Shimp's courage, Larry's spirit, and Curly's innocence. Even the latter Stooges, Curly Joe DeRita and Joe Besser, contributed their own ambitions and suffering. Even in difficult times, Mo had respect for each and every one of them. Mo told a story that truly resonated. He once witnessed a young youngster in the hospital pass away from cancer. Moe was informed by the boy's parents that their son only ever laughed when he watched the Three Stooges. Moe sent the child a joke, a picture, and a letter. The boy died a week later, but according to his parents, he died grinning. That was the thing Moe clung to. Not money, not fame, just one smile, one life somewhat improved. I just want them to know we were real, Moe added, and he meant it. Not all of the Stooges were comedians. They were people with concerns, emotions, and an unending affection for their audience. Moe Howard had seen it all by the early 1970s. Two of his brothers were buried by him. Larry was ill. The world of humor had evolved. Slapstick, which used to be popular in theaters, was now considered outdated. But Moe continued. He authored his memoirs, signed autographs, and conducted interviews. Above all, though, he was attempting to reconcile with the past. He survived to witness a surge of new admirers. The Three Stooges were rediscovered by college students in the 1970s, who watched their short films on campus and laughed as if they were witnessing a pie being flung in a man's face for the first time. Moe felt moved. The world seemed to have finally turned around. However, he was also worn out. His eyes appeared older. He spoke more softly. He spoke more slowly, frequently stopping to recall persons, locations, and the hastily passed years. His expression showed how much he missed them. Larry's smile, Curly's giggle, and the time they all joyfully danced across the stage. Moe released his memoirs in 1974. Moe Howard and the Three Stooges was the name of the group. It was not ostentatious. There was no drama. Like him, it was honest. Moe spilled forth memories he had been holding on to for decades in those pages. He discussed the travels, the poverty, the wars, and the silent times that were never captured on camera. It had nothing to do with blame or retaliation. The goal was to make things right. He was at peace, according to friends who paid him a visit near the end. He was still able to joke, but he did so more subtly now. He would utter phrases like "I've poked more eyes than a doctor," followed by a kind smile. However, his thoughts frequently strayed to Curly. According to Moe, he should have had more time, once. It felt like the end of an era when Moe died on May 4, 1975. That line was simple, but it came from deep pain. However, it wasn't a solitary conclusion. His life had been full. He had witnessed the world transform, the ebb and flow of laughter, and its eventual resurgence. Moe didn't leave without saying goodbye properly, even though he did exit the stage. He was honest. He paid respect to his brothers. Above all, he made the man behind the act visible to the world. Quiet tranquility and a legacy that continues to make people laugh even now, without any more jabs or slaps. He had been fighting lung cancer and was 77 years old. He had been a heavy smoker for years, and it finally caught up with him. Only a few days prior, he had been admitted to Cedars-Sinai Medical Center. Helen, his wife, died a few months later. In Culver City, they were interred next to one another. Moe's legacy persisted even after his death. The Three Stooges were awarded a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in August 1983. The old black and white clips were still viewed by fans, who laughed at every pie to the face, slap, and poke. Few, however, were aware of the costs incurred by the guys who created such moments. In a 2000 made-for-TV film about the Stooges, actor Paul Ben-Victor played Moe. The movie depicted their ascent in the entertainment industry, as well as their private lives. In the comic adaptation from 2012, Moe was once more played by Chris Diamantopoulos, and Skylar Gassando played a younger version of him. However, the true story, which Moe eventually revealed in his final days, had nothing to do with celebrity or amusing anecdotes. It dealt with family, suffering, and the price of making others laugh when you're secretly collapsing. And the Three Stooges became more than simply comedians after Moe revealed the reality. Despite the pain, they were human beings who sacrificed all for their craft. He cautioned aspiring performers against sacrificing themselves for stardom before he died. He acknowledged that they had disregarded the warnings. He claimed that people may be broken by Hollywood. Curly was evidence of that. Please click the next video that appears on your screen, like, and subscribe if you liked this one.